I think it's a wide open position. A good and the interesting thing of this, certainly compared to the NFC, which we'll talk on in a second, every single team has a winning record in the AFC. That can't be the same, cannot be said in the NFC. But I've asked this every week so far. Out of the AFC, who's your favorite for the playoffs standing? Who's the favorite, to go to Super Bowl from the AFC as we look at it today?
Do you know what? I do like the Patriots. I do like.
Well, I personally don't like the Patriots, but it's not what they look like. It's as a Dolphins fan. I have to not. And the fact that they beat us last week, I now owe our friend out in America, Mr. Matt Matake. I owe him. I don't want to rub my nose in it. I owe him a bottle of whiskey now, as it is anyway. But yeah,
he would be in ecstatic mode. Absolutely.
I will try and get Matt on. I will try and get Matt on. But yeah, so you like the Patriots?
I like the Patriots because I think that Drake May has been consistent this whole season. I can't think of a game that he's played where I'd be like, I don't know about him, right? And sometimes, that's good enough, right? You just need to, because I think teams cannot just focus and say, oh, let's see if Drake May can beat us, kind of thing. Let's shut down everything else and see if Drake May can beat us, because he's shown that he can win it for them. He can lean on his team. He can lean on the defense, and they play hard. They really play hard. So I do like the Patriots. Going into the playoffs. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Broncos would have given them very good confidence, because that was their one good win. That was the win that helped them answer some questions, because before then they had lost to some really good teams. They had lost to Seattle, a playoff team. They had lost to the Rams, a playoff team. So beating, the number one seed in your own side of the conference, I think it's going to give them confidence, going into that game against the Bills. So, hey, Bills need to watch out.
No, I would say, look, I've always said Bills. I've always said Bills, obviously, from the start, so I'm not going to change on that. I agree on the Patriots. I think the Patriots are looking good. My one concern about the Patriots is they have had a fairly gentle schedule, which I think has been said by a lot of people. So it's not. I'm not being a bitter Dolphins fan saying that. But well, maybe a little. Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year candidate again. Drake May, MVP candidate. None of that is all true. The one team that I am liking the look of at the moment is the Houston Texans. Because they're obviously on such a hot streak at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's said by every single person who knows a lot more about football than we do, is that defense wins championships.
They do.
And I think they can shut down Pittsburgh. We may be wrong on that. They can shut down, but they've got this sort of fifth seed position. So again, it's all going to vary. It's all going to change based on who they play. But I can't see them coming up against. I can't see them being the lowest ranked team in the next round. I can see them causing some upsets. I can see them causing some upsets, and it wouldn't surprise me if they defend their way to the Super Bowl, and that'd be fair play. So I think they're someone worth watching out.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There is a story there about the Texans. Obviously beating the Jacksonville Jaguars in the last game. A team in their division. You're kind of thinking, yeah, okay. Because they play the Steelers, and I think they'll be favored, right? I don't think anyone's going to be picking the Steelers to beat the Texans. So if they come out of that game, they depending on what happens between Jacksonville Jaguars and Bills, they could be facing anyone that comes out from that Patriots or Broncos side of things. And yeah, it could be interesting. It's the Houston Texans. They're interesting, and the fact that they overcome a 19-point deficit in that last game to win. It's the kind of resilience that you need in the playoffs, because you can blink and you could be 10 points down. Right. But someone said something, about the way that NFL players look at scores now in the NFL. I think it was Mike Florio from Pro Football Focus, or he was saying something like the boys that now they look at 21 3 touchdowns as like 3-0, like the way that you look at our football game. They don't look at it as 21 points. They look at it as 3-0.
Yeah, it's a three score game.
Yes. So and when you look at it, it does something to your head when you think about it as 3-0 rather than 21-0. So that means that you just need to score one. Now you're 2-1. And you know what they say about 2-1 in football, and it's like the next goal just changes the momentum. So you score that next touchdown, and next thing you're 21-14, and then the other team starts to panic a little bit.
Yeah, but you need a defense that's going to be good enough to stop you conceding as well, and I think the Texans have that. So again, we talked about it in the AFC. Let's do it on the NFC. Which team do you look at? Do you think are the favorites to go through to the Super Bowl from the NFC?
This is a tough one. So it's a tough one. Because I think if you had asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have been looking at the Rams. But
yeah, same.
But I don't know. They've been looking a little bit shaky in offense, recently. So it's kind of making me, doubt them a little bit. Do you know what? I'm going to stick my head out. And this is a real bold claim. I'm going to say that the number one seed in the NFC makes it to the into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So Seattle makes it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's it. They're all reasonable shouts. I mean, obviously, I've said the Rams now for a number of weeks, but the form in the past few weeks has made me doubt them a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm still going to say the Rams because that's who I said before. Because I look at it and I think for me, the Rams is the only team that I look at who I can say who I think are guaranteed or is my sort of lock of the week to go through to the next round.
Yeah.
Because I think Green Bay, Chicago, I think that can go either way. I think 49ers and the Eagles could go either way. Yeah. I can't see Carolina as well as they've done to get there. I can't see them beating the Rams. So I think for the Panthers, it's just nice for them to get an invitation, but they're going to be one and done.
Yeah. They're going to be.
But beyond that, I think any team who gets through, they've all got strengths, but they've also got a lot of question marks against them. Green Bay, Chicago, Philly, 49ers, even the Seahawks, they've all got significant question marks against them. So it's not as clear cut as I thought this was going to be recently. Previously, I've said before that I was thinking it was going to be Rams and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. I'm not too confident in that prediction anymore. But the one thing to say is a player football throws up all manner of surprises, stories. This is what everybody's trying to. We've basically wasted 18 weeks just getting to this point, haven't we? Let's be honest. Now this is where things really get interesting.